Okay, so to report on my quick research guide, I decided to do another video. I'm just going to show you some highlights. This is the folder that I'm calling my research portfolio. And these are the different files that I have in there. I'm just going to start going through them and just show you some of my favorite things that I did. In my All About Name folder, last time I showed you about my nickname spreadsheet and how I had fun doing that, so I'm not going to bore you with that again. But another thing that I found that I really liked was this abbreviation guide that tells you all the different things about different abbreviations and what they might stand for, what the period means behind a name, that sort of thing. And in my handwriting file, I taught a handwriting class, and these are some of the samples that I had made, so I kept those. I just collected different letters and how different ways I had seen them written while I was indexing that might be confusing to people. So I just kept that and working on other stuff in this file. Then I've been collecting stuff about historical events. So I have things under here like the Civil War, indentured servants, which is a big thing in my area. I'm in the Mid-South, and so there were quite a few indentured servants in my region. One of the things I want to show you is this big picture timeline that I did. And a lot of these things I've done, I don't know how much I'll go back and review, but it was really helpful for me to make them, because then it helped me get things solid in my mind about when the different wars are, when different historical events happen that may affect my area. And I also did an immigration timeline that gets a little more specific about different events in immigration. Spent a lot of time doing this war timeline that was ended up getting a little confusing because I decided to try and source it a little bit by at least putting where I'd found the information, and so it started getting long and choppy, but it again helped me learn a little bit more about the wars and when, for example, if somebody was drafted, what age they would have been if they were actually drafted in the different drafts of each war and whatnot. So let's go to my next folder that I wanted to show you something in. I showed you my MidSouth spreadsheet last time, which I'm not going to spend a lot of time telling you how I did that again, but it has been really helpful for me to have a good overview of the different counties and the different states that I'm working on, and so that's what I've been doing with that. And then I really like my template file folder. I go to it on a daily basis when I'm working on a project. I have my favorite thing in here is my citation template that I've been working on. And I've done it my research logs are on an Excel file, and so it works really nicely for me to just have the same format, and I can go in and cut and paste and put it right into my research log and then make the changes that need to be made for that template. It saves me a lot of time. So I have Census. On this one, just as a reminder, I found it nice to have the dates of when the actual census was taken there. And then I'll just show you one more tab. This is my death tab, and actually my death and birth tab, and I have a few births here, but I find that I don't do births near as much as I do deaths. So I have a different, using Elizabeth Shown Mills, I have my full reference note up here, this column, then subsequent reference notes, and the actual source citation. I don't have all of those filled in, but I find I use the reference note full reference note the most. And then occasionally there's been record groups where I use them repeatedly, and so I went ahead and made a little more specific template for that actual database. That, like, this one is the Ancestry Virginia death records and the North Carolina death records. So they have their own template already made up, so I don't have to do it quite as much from scratch. Okay, let's go back to my main screen. In this folder, I've just been collecting different websites. I was surprised when I actually made myself start digging and not using the same stuff that I tended to use, that I found out there was a lot of stuff out there. So I really enjoyed the process of making all of these pages. And what I did is, let me just show you one of them. So this is my archives, digital archives, and historical databases. And so I have regular archives, stuff that are genealogy sites, like basic stuff, and then getting into digital archives. And so I can just click on any of these links and go straight to that website. It's already there for me. I have stuff that was focused on the colonial period, American history, books, and then down here I have archives by region and by state. Another one, then I have a little more where I get more specific, where I do record groups of like church records, different places to go look for church records, different places to look for immigration records, I found a lot on newspapers, a lot on military records and land records. And then on my census page, I have a copy of all the blank documents, the blank forms, and then more specifics on the actual census. So I went through and put some of the census websites there that would be helpful, the beginning dates or the official dates of the census, and then specific things that were unique about those censuses, or the different items that were listed in that census. Whoops. Sorry about that. Okay, I don't know what I did there, but I'm not starting over. Sorry. Okay, so this is the last thing I wanted to show you was my vital records at a glance. I did show you this a little bit last time, but I actually got it finished now. And this is my overview, so I can refer to this very quickly about the statehood date for each of my states, for when the births were started, when the death records were kept, divorce, all that stuff, and then the times that there were restrictions. And then I have worked on the different databases that I can find that might deal with these different categories of birth or death or marriage or whatever it may be. So that's about all I have, and this was a great assignment that I worked hard and still have a lot I'd love to do, but I felt like I got a really good start on it and a really good basis going. So thanks again for watching.